a lot happening in the city of Wentzville. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge some of the folks here in the audience today. In the front row here, I see Alderman Schutte and his wife, Joyce Schutte. Would you please stand up, please? Have we got any other aldermen here? I don't see anyone else. Okay. Any other elected officials or elected official representatives? Oh, there's Debbie Cochran with Todd Aiken's office. Debbie, please stand up. Okay, looks like Todd got a little bit of help last night. And in the back, yes? Senator Roop's office represented back there also. Thank you. Also want to introduce some of the city staff, which were very instrumental in helping prepare this presentation. And their work every day is very appreciated. We're very lucky to have a professional staff. Diana Wright, I saw you. Where are you? Oh, there she is, Diana Wright. Diana's our city administrator. We also have our finance director, Dennis Walsh. Dennis. He writes the checks and wrestles with the budget. That's why he's scowling all the time. Bob Swank, he's our economic development director. Guy Skillman, who's our city clerk. We have the distinction of having Vice Skillman as a master senior clerk who's been recognized in 1,000 different ways. She's a very highly skilled and highly attained and accomplished city clerk, looked up to in the entire state of Missouri. We have a Parks director. Did Mary Jo make it? Mary Jo DeSouza. If I get done early, she's going to do calisthenics for everybody. Lead us all in jumping jacks. Police Chief Bob Noonan is in the back there next to Frank Class. And did Captain Pipe make it? Okay, our Assistant Chief was going to be here. And then I see our Public Works Director, Bill Mensing. He has a big job. Bill's over a number of different departments. Bill does a lot more than just streets. Bill is also over sewer, water, planning, zoning, all kinds of stuff. And then we got, did Doug Forbeck make it over here? Yep, there's Doug Forbeck. Doug Forbeck is our city planner. And Doug worked at the county and city planning before coming to Wentzville. He brings a lot of experience, knowledge, and passion. He's also a lifetime resident of St. Charles in the Wentzville area. He really has a strong passion and desire to maintain a good-looking community and help Wentzville be differentiated from the communities around us. And don't say duck around him or he's liable to pull a shotgun out and shoot you. He loves to hunt ducks and go hunting. Amy Holloway. Amy is the unsung hero, our Human Resources Director. Amy's a remarkable story in herself. Started with the city of Wentzville in an entry-level position and is now the head of HR in the city. We have around 200 employees right now, so she's got a huge job. And thanks to Amy, that's why we all smile all day long and everybody's happy, right? Okay. Well, let's get started with the show here. How many were able to come to our Martin Luther King Day celebration? Raise your hand. Just a couple of you. So I got to tell you, we got just a little while here, and I'm going to start out by telling you what Marilyn Monroe told her fifth husband. I won't keep you long, so don't worry. Wentzville, the crossroads of the nation. This was coined in 1954. It started appearing in some of the newspapers published around that time. So we've been calling ourselves the crossroads of the nation since 1954. And we are actually growing into that position. I think the early visionary leaders in Wentzville recognized the uniqueness of our location on these two main routes, north, south, east, and west. You can go from New Orleans to Minneapolis-St. Paul on 4061, and as that's progressing and getting completed, it puts us in the center of a transportation hub. Then you have your east-west traffic on Interstate 70, which has just been named out of the top 100 busiest highways in the United States. I-70 is about number in the 40, 41, 42 somewhere. I can't remember exactly, but it was 40-something. So two busy interstates intersect us. The mission statement of our community, we're a community of neighbors working together to build a better future. And I really believe that's true. Everybody has differing opinions and different ideas, but we encourage discussion of those ideas and community involvement. If you want to be involved, contact any of your aldermen, mayor, and city clerks. We have numerous boards and opportunities to serve on the city. Well, let's take a look at some numbers, 2009 development numbers. This is through December of 2009. New home permits. We ended up the year with 345 home permits. We ended up with 561 business licenses with 39 new businesses. What doesn't show up here, though, and I'll mention it, is the businesses who opened but aren't here. And we don't have that number, but I know that some of them did make it. I don't think we need to tell anybody in here that it's been an extraordinary year. We ended the decade before this census with the worst economic downturn in 65 years, and I'm positive it's affected everybody in this room. But a lot of cities in Missouri would die to have 345 new home permits in a year. Let's take a look back at our sales and use tax. I don't know if you probably can't read those numbers way in the back, but the little red bars are use tax, and the blue bars are sales tax. You can see that we derive a lot of our income from sales tax. And as retail has grown since 2004, 5, 6, 7, you can see our receipts from sales tax peaked out in 2008. That's pretty consistent with what the economy did, peaking out in 2008. You can see the growth and buildup of that as we grew rooftops and businesses were attracted to service those rooftops. And then, of course, in 2009, you can see the sales tax revenue drop. The red bars are use tax. Now, use tax, you know, all laws are fair and equal across the board for everybody except for use tax. You don't pay use tax. Everybody should pay use tax, but use tax usually doesn't get paid except by the larger corporations and businesses that are audited. And use tax is a tax that you are supposed to pay on anything you buy outside of the city. It gets taxed at the same rate. And primarily what that use tax is reflecting there is the impact of all of the parts and pieces that General Motors buys to manufacture vans. You can see that our use tax in 2006 hit a high of $883,000, almost $884,000 in use tax. Most of that came from the use tax we collect from General Motors. Probably 10% of it came from other businesses in the Wentzville area. And then you can see how it has dropped to $375,000 in 2009, end of year 2009. So it's almost half. So there's a pretty big reduction in income there just in use tax. The other thing that this doesn't show is we have what is called in the industry leakage. Every time we go on the internet and we buy something from a website that doesn't collect local sales tax or pay use tax, that doesn't come back to the city. It's leakage. Estimates by the U.S. Department of Bureau of Labor Statistics and others are anywhere from 10 to, in some communities, as high as 25% of their revenues are leaking out to websites and internet purchases. It's a huge problem across the country as the popularity of the internet becomes a fact and people buy more and more online. So keep that in mind when it comes to time to shop. If you can go to a brick and mortar store in the city and buy there, it really does support your community. Just about the only taxes you pay that come directly back to you, penny for penny, are your local sales tax and use taxes because we can't spend them outside of our community. So if you live in this community and shop in this community, those come directly back to you. The money we send to Washington, if we send a penny to Washington, we're lucky to get 1/100 of a cent back. You know, it gets distributed everywhere, except maybe in highways. We've had some folks like Kit Bond who've been pretty good at getting that back to us. So if you got more questions on sales and use tax, talk to Dennis Walsh afterwards. He's an expert on use tax. Population trends. You can see that in 1990, we showed